For those of you who've watched my content for a while, you will recognize this guy on the right as the Praying Medic, aka Dave Hayes. That's his real name. Well, he's had some interesting things to say, some pretty pivotal stuff actually, in a brand new clip that just came out. So I want to watch that clip, but let me give you a little bit of lead up to that before we watch it. I want to explain to you what this guy has been doing for the past 4 years of his life, basically. The Praying Medic is a Q celebrity. He is well known in these circles. He has a Telegram channel of, I think, 150,000. You know, let me just check real quick. That's something that I can just find out. Yeah, I don't want to show his Telegram on screen because there's some real unhinged stuff on there, and I do not think that it's YouTube safe at all. You know, I don't know why it's not letting me in, but he has 170,712 subscribers on Telegram. That is huge. That is massive for a Telegram channel. That is a real movement right there that he's a part of, that he's a leader in. He's a big deal. And on his Telegram channel, he's been talking about this one thing for a while, the storm. It's this idea that within some period of time, this big event is going to happen where all these people are going to be arrested and rounded up and punished for their crimes against humanity, so on and so forth. You know what? He explains exactly what the storm is in this clip. This came out May 2019, and it's a 12-month prediction. 12-month prediction. Give this a listen.
Q has often said, especially over the last 6 months, this is going to be the end of the D Party. The end of the Democrat Party. Okay, now, if you are, average person listening, watching Q, like, what do you mean the end of the Democrat Party? The Democrat Party is not going to end.
So what's happening here is he's describing this poster on originally 4chan, who eventually moved to 8chan, just some random anonymous 4chan poster claiming to have secret military intelligence that these things were going to take place. His original post was was outright claiming that Hillary Clinton was going to be arrested on a very specific day and time. Did it happen? Of course it didn't happen. It was nonsense. It was nonsense from the start, but it caught people's attention because they were using language that you would expect to hear from somebody in the intelligence community. Like they knew somebody who was in the military at some point and used that type of language, that type of grammar and verbiage. It's just like it flowed off the page as though they were in the intelligence community. They weren't. We pretty much know that without a shadow of a doubt at this point. We are pretty confident we know exactly who the poster was who claimed to be Q. If you're curious, the answer is we believe it to be most likely Paul Ferber originally and somebody named Tracy Beans Diaz. They were both early promoters of the Q conspiracy, and they both contributed in various ways to its rise. Paul Ferber ran servers for Q originally, and there was a video of Paul Ferber typing something in, moving the camera away, hitting a key, moving the camera back, and that thing that he had typed was posted under the Q account. People started asking, like, are you Q? What happened? How did you do that? How did you post what Q was going to post? So it was most likely a guy named Paul Ferber, pretty much a nobody, not involved in the intelligence community. Tracy Beans Diaz originally, and eventually it moved to 8chan. There is speculation. Who really knows? There's speculation that Ron and Jim Watkins, the owners of 8chan, took over the Q account when it moved to 8chan. They deny it. There's no way of knowing for sure. There is one thing that we can know for sure about it, though. It isn't some special secret military leader. It isn't somebody who actually has Q-level clearance as they claim to. It's just nonsense, plain and simple. But the Praying Medic bought right into the nonsense, and he's going to explain to you why the storm, as Q calls it, is going to happen in the next 12 months.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain to you how the Democrat Party is going to end. What we are going to see in the next year unrolled is likely hundreds of members of Congress, most of them Democrats, some Republicans, all right, they're going to be arrested and they're going to be prosecuted for corruption. Q said that people in Congress were warned the storm is coming, and they were told, if you are playing the game and you are in Congress when the storm hits, you're going to be prosecuted. They saw the storm coming and they were like, okay, I'm out. They were cut a deal. You get out, you won't be prosecuted. If you stay in, the hammer's going to fall on you, you're going to be prosecuted.
This is what Q and Q people are talking about when they say the storm. And Trump encouraged this. I mean, he said things like the storm is coming. He called reporters to the press room in the middle of the night at the White House just to hold an event to say the storm is coming and then leave. That's it.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Trump intentionally encouraged this kind of thing. And once again, this guy put this video out May 2019, and he specifically said,
what we are going to see in the next year unrolled.
In the next year unrolled. That's specifically what he said. Those are the words that he used. May 2019. So the storm should have taken place by May 2020. What happened? That's not where the predictions ended for this guy, though. Check this out. November 9th, 2018, on his Twitter account, the Praying Medic's Twitter account. Buckle up, Buttercup. Looks like a storm is brewing. November 9th, 2018. April 15th, 2019. Buckle up. Looks like the storm is here. April 30th, 2020. There be a storm a-brewing. 2018, 2019, 2020. This guy's been predicting the storm is coming for years. Every single year he made a prediction. We just listened to this clip from May 2019. We have tweets from November 9th, 2018, April 15th, 2019, April 30th, 2020. It just keeps going. And guess what? That's not where it ends. This guy's obsession with the movement never ends. The guy keeps going. He continues believing to the bitter end. Before I continue, I have to explain to you what Michael Flynn's role in this situation is. Michael Flynn was an early supporter of the Q movement. When he started getting himself in hot water and had to get that pardon from Trump and everything, he started buying into it a little bit. And he actually sued anybody who suggested that he was getting involved. So I have to say he denies all of this. Just put that on record. He says he denies all of it. But I want to point something out. This video, I've removed the sound from it because it came from CNN and because Michael Flynn tends to sue people who talk about him. So this video is Michael Flynn and his family on July 2020. I believe July 4th, I think. Don't quote me on that. Taking a pledge, an oath, that is commonly also said by QAnon members. I'm not saying that he's doing it as a pledge to QAnon. I'm just saying that a lot of Q members do this too. I, Michael Flynn, do solemnly swear. Each family member individually said their name. I, Jim, or I, Jennifer, or whatever else. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. Where we go one, we go all. And that is really the key phrase. God bless America. Where we go one, we go all is the key phrase here. That is the QAnon phrase. They picked it up and they ran with it, and they've used it ever since. It is beyond a dog whistle to QAnon. Okay, so the Praying Medic picks up on this and suddenly becomes a deep fan of Michael Flynn, a deep fan. So early February 2021, Michael Flynn has clearly established his support for the movement, in my opinion. Again, this is all speculative because he claims that he's never supported the movement and knows nothing about it, so on and so forth. But he goes on this podcast, The Right Side with Doug Billings, early February 2021, and he says this. Listen to this interview Michael Flynn gave on this podcast.
I'm just going to ask you some questions, and I want you to just tell me if it's nonsense or if there was anything to it at all. Number one, did President Trump ever sign into action the Insurrection Act?
That was a massive Q claim. Like, a lot of Q people were walking around saying that Trump signed the Insurrection Act and, everything was under control, blah, 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 military, martial law, all this other stuff.
No. Nonsense.
Nonsense. Is the United States military running the country or just is that nonsense as well?
More nonsense.
Good to hear.
More nonsense. There's no plan. There's no people. There's so many people out there. Is the plan happening? There's no. I mean, we have what we have, and we have to accept the situation as it is.
So basically what Flynn was saying is you can't rely on other people to solve the problem for you. You need to accept that this is a situation that we're in and solve it yourself. That's what I was picking up. Purely speculative. That's just my reading of it. I don't know that that was his intent or whatever. That's just how it seemed to me. So the praying medic picks up on this little interview that Michael Flynn gave. A deep fan of Michael Flynn, praying medic is at this point, remember. And he has a response to what Flynn said. Listen to this. This is mid-February 2021.
Some people have heard the interview with General Flynn, where General Flynn said that there is no plan for the military to step in. I was listening to Monkey Works, and he interviewed a guy a couple days ago, and that guy also said there is no plan for the military to step in and do anything. Well, I would like to suggest an alternative viewpoint on that. If the military had a plan to intervene in American politics, and General Flynn was aware of it, I guarantee you he wouldn't tell anybody what he knew publicly for operational security.
Bro, this is nonsense. The QAnon movement is nonsense. It's ridiculous from beginning to end. It's not happening. There is no storm. There is no plan. General Flynn was correct. He was right. There's no plan. There's no storm coming. You can sit here and try to explain it away, but come on. Come back to reality with us. I'm begging you, please. Come back to reality with the rest of us. So that one was, when was that one? Mid-February 2021. Okay, so we have a prediction multiple predictions. We have multiple predictions. Prophecies. God, I'm sorry. I keep using the wrong words. We have multiple prophecies in 2018, 2019, 2020. Now we're in 2021. Next clip comes out mid-October 2021. Give this one a listen.
I would just advise people, be patient, hang in there, wait. Don't be impatient, don't be upset if it doesn't go at the speed that you want it to. The storm is coming. And there is nothing anyone is going to do to stop it. The storm is on its way.
Please give up on it. It's not happening. It's not coming. You've been saying this for years. How many years have to pass? How many years and failed prophecies do you have to burn through before you accept it's not taking place? It was nonsense. Q was a fabrication. It was a lie from the beginning. When are you going to accept that? Please come back to reality with us. Here's another, mid-November 2021.
The storm is pretty darn close to being here. The indictments are starting to be unsealed. And I think that 2022 is going to be glorious.
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and now 2022. That's 5 years worth of predictions that I just covered. We just went through 5 years worth of predictions from this guy. Here's early January 2022, not that long ago.
I hang around a lot of people who are very prophetic, and God continues to show us that these people are all going to be held accountable. They're going to be arrested.
You know, I actually hesitated to call this a religious cult for a while. I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. I wasn't sure how I felt about calling them prophecies, specifically. A movement doesn't have to be a religion to be a cult. It can be bad and not be a religion. It's just commonly people like to exploit the religious beliefs of their adherents, the religious beliefs of their members. They can increase the enthusiasm factor and make them more devout, increase loyalty and brotherhood and camaraderie by exploiting that religious element. So more often than not, you find that cults have a religious element to them, but that's not always the case. So I was hesitant about saying that he was prophesying things. I was hesitant about using that word because it's religious language, and not everything that's religious is always bad, and not everything that's bad is always religious. They're not necessarily connected. But then I was like going through these clips and doing research on this movement and stuff like that, and then I heard him say that.
I hang around a lot of people who are very prophetic, and God continues to show us that these people are all going to be held accountable.
God continues to show us. I hang around a lot of prophetic people. There is a lot of religious language mixed all through here. And they genuinely do view Trump as a new Messiah. Really. I mean, that's not hyperbole. Like I said, I'm trying to decide if I should use religious language in this case or not, because not all religions are cults and vice versa. I feel comfortable using religious verbiage in this case. I feel comfortable saying this is a religious cult, at least to some degree. It's largely a political cult, but it's also a religious cult.
They're going to be arrested. They're going to be tried, and justice is coming. That's why for the last 4 years, when all the doom and gloomers and the doubt show up, they're like, nothing's going to happen. It's never going to change. No one's going to get arrested. You're just pushing hopium. I'm like, whatever. Say whatever you want. Like, God's already shown me the end of this. I know how it's going to end.
God's already shown me the end of this. How incredibly sad.
I know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
God has shown a bunch of us how it's going to end. One of my friends actually has seen the fall of Babylon. He had this incredible experience where he was in this dream or vision, and he literally saw the fall of Babylon.
Babylon, of course, is used as kind of an analog for everything that's against what they believe in. Christendom, the evil world, the worldliness going on around them, so on and so forth. Babylon the Great specifically is mentioned, I think, in the book of Revelations. And Jehovah's Witnesses use Babylon the Great as like the evil world that, machinations of blah, 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 all that stuff. So that's what he's talking about when he says Babylon.
And he literally saw the fall of Babylon.
When you say the fall of Babylon, do you mean like the specific...
Symbolically?
Okay. The fall of this whole system, the whole symbolic...
Yeah, the fall of this false system.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. This false world system that we're under, he saw the fall of it. He actually spoke a word, or I think he went in and touched like this door and the whole freaking thing fell down.
And this wasn't just some dream that a guy was having. This was like a prophecy from God. This is a prophecy that this guy was given from God on high. Babylon the Great was going to fall, this false system, thus reinforcing his belief in the Q movement.
I have zero doubt that these people are going to be held accountable. And I don't look in the natural. I don't look at the news and have the news inform me about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
God has already shown me so much of what's coming in the future. I'm just sitting back, chill, like, you know what? I know it's coming. God has shown me how it's going to end. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Okay, so now I've caught you all the way up. That is the history of his prophecies, that the storm is on its way and that the corrupt system is going to fall and all that other stuff. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, now 2022. Multiple prophecies in each year. This latest one was January 2022, right? Well, I got one more clip to show you. This one is early February 2022. He's on the same program, Patrick Gunnell's program, I believe. Give this one a watch.
No one has been more pissed off at Q than me for the 3 years we sat through of waiting for the arrests, thinking that the arrests were just around the corner, like it was just going to happen. And this next week we're going to see people arrested, and it never happened.
You don't say. Do you think that maybe there's any possibility that the reason that it never happened is because it was nonsense from the start? Do you think there's any possibility that that's the case?
So I have, as much frustration as anyone does. about how long we've been waiting for the arrest to happen. However,
Yeah.
Q did warn us on the front end of the conversation that a lot of what he was going to put out was going to be disinformation.
Yeah, very true.
Disinformation designed to make the bad guys make wrong moves.
Wow. This dude just cannot give up on it. He had to find some explanation. He's conceding that the storm isn't going to happen. After all, it seems to me. That's what I'm reading here, right? He's admitting and accepting the storm isn't going to happen. After 5 years of predictions, 5 years, he admits it. It's not going to happen. But why is it that it's not going to happen? Not because the whole movement is nonsense from beginning to end. Not because he's been duped, but because it's an operational security thing. It's all part of the plan. Even the lie was part of the plan. This guy is so close to realizing that he has been suckered for 5 years. He's been suckered out of 5 years of his life. So close to realizing that, yet so far.
So you had to get real with that. If you're going to buy on to the Q thing, you have to know up front half of what Q is going to tell you is not going to be true. It's for the purpose of psychological operations, and that's just how it is.
Did you ever consider the possibility that maybe he wasn't some secret agent? That it was just some guy having a little bit of fun on the internet? Do you ever consider the possibility that it was a troll all along? That you had been duped? If he accepted that, he would have to contend with the sunk costs fallacy. He would have to accept that he just wasted his entire life. The pivotal thing that formed him into who he is today, becoming the praying medic. His identity would come into question if he had to admit that Q was fake all along. If you're watching Praying Medic, Dave Hayes, I have a message for you. I get it. I understand that you have to grapple with the fact that a core piece of your identity is gone. There's nothing left of it. There is nothing left of it because you've come to realize you have been duped all along. I went through that exact experience, that exact feeling in the pit of your stomach that hurts, that won't go away for hours, for days, for weeks. The possibility that you may have been wrong all along. That you may have just wasted 5, 10, 15, 20 years of your life on something that was meaningless all along. But here's where the sunk costs fallacy comes in. You don't have to waste it anymore. You can walk away now. If you continue down this road and waste another 5 years, you don't get the previous 5 years back. It's just gone. You can stop, turn around, and save yourself time and heartache. You can save yourself the trouble of burning up your last few years on this planet fighting for something that's nonsense, that was nonsense from the start. Walk away like I did, please. Walk away. Don't waste another 5 or 10 years on this when you know it's fake, and it always has been.